I moved from South America to Denmark over 10 years ago, and while I can tell you there are many things in common among the two places, there are 10 key differences that completely shocked me, and I'll go through them during this video. Number 1 is party in school. First I came to Denmark to study my master's in a Copenhagen Business School, or CBS. I have to tell you, I had the time of my life in CBS. Something that was incredible to me was the university main campus turned into a party house every single Thursday. And it's just not that it was a little bar or something. It was a big party with alcohol flowing and like everything in the same place that we studied. It's called Cafe Nexus, and I can tell you it was really fun. It was crazy back then, and it went wilder and wilder through the years, to the point that I can sadly say that the place is apparently closing down or scaling down as of mid-2022, but alas, it was absolutely fun. In Argentina, this was impossible. I mean, you would never see a big party in the university campus, or maybe the graduation party and that's it, but definitely not every Thursday. And then I also studied in Vienna, in Austria, and the campus did turn into a big party house, but it was just once a year. In CBS, it was every single week, and again with a lot of alcohol flowing, and again shows you about the priorities, and honestly, I loved it. Number 2 is party at work. So then I joined Maersk during my time in CBS, so as a student helper during my studies. To my shock, the same drinking culture, the same party culture went not only into studies, but also into the corporate world as well. You don't really drink during the week or during the office hours when you're in a company like Maersk, or at least I don't, but overall drink is still around a lot. So I remember in my first business trip, I went to Amsterdam together with my new boss and with some colleagues, and some of them got really crazy drunk. It was really shocking for me. It's like, okay, this is my new boss, and like I have met him like 3-4 times and he's already completely wasted. I mean, it was really fun. Again, I was trying to be proper, not drinking myself much, or maybe just a little bit. But I mean, everyone told me, hey, you're being too uptight, just, relax. And it turns out that it's absolutely fine to drink, and even quite a bit, with your colleagues. So especially in big events like Christmas parties and like the like. So you have a big company event, I think that's also normal. Many people, and like me included, we don't get as far as to get drunk, but still, we can still have a lot more fun or let alcohol a lot more flow than you would expect in a fancy setting. But this brings me to alcohol as a whole. So there's a lot of alcohol, and we're talking about beer, wine, liquors, and so on, as part of the Danish social life, like a lot. And if you come to Denmark for your studies or as a young person and you want to socialize, if you don't drink, it's gonna get weird fast. So I remember back a few years ago, I went out with friends a lot more than I do at the moment now. I was a father of 2 children, right? And it was maybe like 2, 3, 4 times a week. Tried not to drink for 1 whole month once, and it was really hard. There was always alcohol in almost every setup. So all my friends all the time were asking me, hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you not drinking? If you're older again, as I am a bit now, if you have a family, maybe this doesn't apply as much. I hardly drink now, but I think like people accept it better as well. Again, in South America or in Southern Europe or even a lot of other places, this is a lot more uncommon. So if you drink when you go partying, okay, fine, but here is for almost every occasion. Next up is safety. So Argentina was a generally safe place comparable to most Southern European countries when I was growing up, but that's not the case for a while now. Argentina is not safe, or I would say like not as safe as a place like Denmark by a long shot. And Denmark, again, is on the contrary, incredibly safe. I used to joke about it, and I have said it in other videos, that you can just walk blinded with $2 bills on your hands in a so-called dodgy neighborhood and you will be fine. And guys, what I mean about safety is that your life, your family's life is gonna be safe. There are of course still break-ins in Denmark. I mean, good luck having your nice bike not stolen, But if you are in Denmark, you'll never really have to worry about your children or yourself, about, you might worry about your phone or things, sad things could still happen, but your personal safety is almost never at risk here. Again, and this is so important, I hope it never changes. And there's one thing I really value a lot about living here. It's not that it was a culture shock, but it's still like the moment you go from one to the other, it makes a big difference. Next is darkness. I knew when I moved to Denmark that it was going to be cold. So you expect that when you move to Scandinavia. And look, even Denmark is not that cold. Of course, it's cold and long, but I mean, it's never too long under zero, so it's generally fine. But then there's the darkness. So in November and December, things are very, very dark here. So dark as 8 a.m. is dark, 3 p.m. is dark, 5 p.m. is dark as midnight. And it's freaky. I have to tell you, I didn't see this coming. And I remember the first time we had a time change, it was I think end of October. I go out, we were in a conference with my friends, right? And then I come out of that and it was 4 o'clock and it was already getting dark, I was like, whoa, it was completely shocking to me. It was the first time I had this, experience. And it's perhaps for most people the most obvious culture shock. Mind, you do get paid back with long days in spring and in summer, where it's literally light all the time. So light at 4 a.m., light at 11 p.m. There's no midnight sun or white nights, but I mean, we're not that far off here. If you're not used to this, so if you come from lower latitudes, so where you don't have a lot of seasonal change, this will take time to adjust. I have to say that I have been here for a really long time, but still something that I'm not fully adjusted to. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you click subscribe below. I post videos like this every single week, and likely more useful than this one as well. So you'll be in to see them next when they pop up. Next up, and it's perhaps the biggest shock of all, tartlets. So tartlets are the weirdest of all Danish food. And there's a lot to pick from when it comes to Danish food being weird, so big smart. I'm still shocked anyway when I see tartlets at the work canteen, like even 10 years after. And I tell you, I'm not the only one. Each time I see tartlets, I'm like, who came up with this? Let's start with, it just looks absolutely disgusting. You need to see in person to believe. If you have not seen tartlets, it's like you prepare to be shocked. I have yet to see one expat in Denmark that can eat or eats tartlets. You can see that the days that the tartlets are served as a dish of the day in our canteen in Maersk, there's literally only Danes, serving themselves in a queue, and everyone else is trying to get bread or salad or whatever, but not a single one. And it's not that one or two, like 0 people. So it's absolutely shocking. And again, like, it will be a big culture shift for more people. In Denmark, if it's your birthday, you'll see a lot of Danish flags all around you. And if you're lucky, you might even get a huge one from your co-workers or school buddies or from your family. But the birthday traditions don't end there. In Denmark, you need to bring your own cake for your co-workers. This is a big deal. So everyone at work, for instance, if you're working, but I could say in many places as well, everyone is expecting you to be the one bringing the cake for your birthday. And you can't miss it. I mean, if you miss your cake birthday moment, you will be a total spoiler and you'll disappoint a lot of people. For me, this was a bit shocking. I think it's a nice tradition. I like it, but it was like, okay, what? I need to bring cake? I mean, it was very confusing, and I think for a lot of people in their first few years in Denmark, it's something they need to get used to. Now, moving into the realm of sports. There's handball. So here in Denmark, people watch, play, and care about handball. So in South America, where I'm from again, and where football is all the rage, handball doesn't exist. So nobody knows the rules, nobody cares. I would tell you with a lot of certainty, if there would be a handball World Cup final between Argentina and Brazil, and it would be in one of the two countries, nobody would show up at the stadium, like 0 people. But it's not the case here. So here, handball is in the news, people talk about it, some even know the name of some handball players. And to be honest, I still myself don't know absolutely nothing about it, but hey, it's not shocking. It's it's part of the national agenda, and Denmark is pretty good at it. Second to last is haircuts. In Denmark, if you want to get a haircut, expect to pay big, or if you don't pay big, to get basically no service. And sometimes you also pay big and get no service. I'm kind of used to this now, but again, I moved as a student, I didn't have so much money, I had to go for these under 300 krona haircuts, and when you do that, and again, 300 krona as a student is a lot of money, you never get your hair washed, they will barely make it wet when they cut your hair, you don't get any coffee or whatever. Some places yes, but overall, I mean, we're talking about very basic service. In Argentina, again, where I'm from, people take hair very seriously, and the service is just phenomenal and cheap, or sometimes both. Again, for me, it was completely shocking experience to see that, hey, I need to go to this haircut. And like many among my student friends, I went to get my haircut by the students in a haircutting school, because it was one of the few places I could get a 100-something krona haircut with good service, but again, like a bit shocking experience as well. Last one, and very important as well, is the humbleness. So something that completely shocked me in Denmark the moment, especially when I started working in corporate, is that there's a lot of humbleness even among the top executives. You could go in a place like Maersk and have the big boss, we're talking about the CEO of the company, being like in chit chat with a lot of people, not being out of your league when it comes to something. When you want to raise something at work, even the big bosses will take their time to hear you out if you have something to say. There is hierarchy, of course, but it's a lot less pronounced than you would see in other places, even like if you just cross the border of Germany. So I think that was really something that I really value about Denmark, especially when you're young and you want to progress in your career, that then you have easier access to all of these people. And then as well, like, I think like this humbleness and equality that you see at work also permeates the whole of the society, in the sense that you can see in Denmark, and I think this is really good as well, someone that works here, no matter if their work is not as fancy as working in a fancy office with a fancy company as well and so on, they still have the opportunity to live well, have a nice house, get their latest iPhone if they want to, go on holidays to Thailand. Again, even if they have a job that could be like hairdresser or masseuse or you name it, that in many other countries, for instance South America, would be definitely not well paid. And here in Denmark, regardless of what job you have these opportunities to, you know, live a nice life. And I think that brings a lot of social harmony, and it's a price worth paying, you know, to be part of Denmark. Yeah, you need to pay a lot of taxes and so on, but you can see there's a lot more peace here than in other places. To hear more culture shocks and specifically how Denmark changed me, check this video out over here. Thanks for watching.